Good evening, wonderful people Biafra. For those who may not know, I'm Elias Cherasulis, the international lobbyist for the Biafra Republic government in exile, represented by His Excellency Simon Ekpa, Prime Minister in detention, and Mr. Ogochukwu Nakere, Acting Prime Minister. I minister the gospel of Biafra to the most powerful people in the world, to those in positions of power, especially in this great country, the United States of America. This is my second broadcast to follow up on my first broadcast where I discussed the need of Biafrans to change their I'm the king, I'm the queen syndrome. Many Biafrans appreciated this broadcast, and even those who were angry or upset because I spoke the truth and touched a raw nerve. Not only will I continue to touch that raw nerve, but I will hit aggressively that raw nerve to the point where all Biafrans wake up. You should view these broadcasts not only as a mirror to the zoo, but also to yourselves, because we need to save Biafrans not only from the zoo, but also from themselves and their own self-destructive tendencies. So today, my broadcast will be full of fire and brimstone. I will be causing more controversy because I will be providing a psychological analysis of the Igbo or Biafran one Nigerianist, those who are completely against Biafra independence, completely against what we're doing, people who attack us on a daily basis. I've carefully studied their psychology, their heart, their soul, their mindset, and I've come to a few conclusions or observations. From what I can see so far, there are several categories of Biafrans. There are those who are part of our movement, support Biafran independence. There are the ardent Biafran one Nigerianists, and there are also those who are not opposed to what we're doing, but are on the sidelines. And this third group or last group will be discussed in a separate broadcast. It is remarkable how there can be people from the same place or live in the same place and exist in completely different realities. Why would someone be against their own liberation or self-determination? Do they not see the threat posed to them by the Fulani and the Islamic fundamentalists? What's going on? Firstly, I believe one of the underlying behaviors of the Biafrans who are attached to this one Nigerian concept is the problem of the I'm bigger than my neighbor syndrome. Now, what do I mean by this? In Biafra land, there is a phenomenon I've read about where wealthy Biafrans build mansions in their hometowns which they never even lived in. I've read about this. I've watched videos about this. Why is this? This is so bizarre. Why do you build a house you don't even live in the house? Because there is an obsessive need among some of our Biafran brothers and sisters to show off. I've seen this obsession with showing off in my own personal experience. To provide a personal anecdote, I was aware of one situation where a Biafran lady, whom I personally know and will not name by name, went around telling everyone about how expensive and great her shoes were, telling everyone and their mother about how expensive her shoes were, and then also about how everything she does is perfect and so on and so forth. So this is not hypothetical. I've seen this firsthand with my own eye. As such, these wealthy or successful Biafrans, they get high. They get intoxicated when showing themselves off and their wealth. They start to float to the clouds, just like those who believe they are the king or they are the queen, who misinterpret the original phrase of there's no king or queen in Biafra land, and they start to think that they are the king and they are the queen, and they are superior and so on and so forth. So the problem is in the mindset of these people, what is the point of Biafra when I get to show off to everyone how rich I am and how superior I am? I have 2 Mercedes. My neighbors don't have anything. So what's the point of Biafra? I build a home that I don't even live in so everyone can just see how rich I am. So why is Biafra needed? Because of this, these Biafrans are so blind, they can't see the existential danger that the Fulani and the Islamic fundamentalists pose right underneath their own nose. So let me explain this situation to you, the Biafran one Nigerianists who are listening. And I want you to listen very, very carefully to what I have to say to you. The Islamic fundamentalists have taken over the north of Nigeria. Previously, you had the Hausa Fulani people. Now they're just the Fulani. The Fulani have swallowed the Hausa. These Islamic fundamentalists have moved from the north into the southwest and now are targeting the Yoruba. You have a Muslim ticket leading the country, including a vice president who played an instrumental role in the rise of Boko Haram. There has been Islamic fundamentalist capture of the Nigerian state, the Nigerian military at all levels. According to an article in the Nigerian Punch newspaper in January of 2025, again, not my opinion, this is the newspaper in Nigeria, and I quote, "Leaders of pan-Yoruba groups representing artisans, workers, students, community-based groups, traders, professional, and self-determination groups have jointly expressed their opposition against the move to introduce Sharia law in Yoruba land." So this is not simply a matter of terrorist groups and Fulani herders killing Biafrans or people in Nigeria, which again is an ongoing and serious issue. This is also a matter of systematic takeover of the entire country by radical Islamic fundamentalists. If the Islamic fundamentalists take over Yoruba land, obviously the next and the last target will be Biafra land. Many of the Islamic fundamentalists have openly expressed this, that when they are finished with the Yorubas, their next target and their final target will be the Biafrans. And there are those federal politicians in Nigeria who openly express their desire for the entire country to be under Sharia law, which again would include Biafra. There have been efforts, including even last year, to expand Sharia law throughout the entire country. Now, that effort last year in the national legislature in Nigeria did not succeed, but if Nigeria continues on its current trajectory, that will be the reality at some point. There will be Sharia law imposed on a federal level. Sharia will come to Biafra land. So if we've declared Biafra, but if we now do not restore Biafra, everyone in Biafra land will be under Sharia. And what I'm telling you is something that I'm very, very confident in. This is going to happen if we don't take the necessary actions. And in places in Nigeria that are already under Sharia, children are having their limbs chopped off, their limbs amputated. I read a story of a 12-year-old boy who had both of his arms cut off for allegedly stealing an item. I mean, this is barbarism at the highest levels. So when Biafra is under Sharia, you will all be subject to Sharia, regardless of how rich you are. There's no provision in Sharia law which says if you're worth more than $1 million or if you own Mercedes or what have you, that you are exempt from Sharia law. So as such, at that point, will it really matter that you own multiple Mercedes or big houses that you don't even live in if you're under such a circumstance? Many of the Biafran One Nigerianists discuss having a great Igbo land within Nigeria, or having an economically strong a la Igbo within Nigeria. Absolute nonsense, complete rubbish, garbage. First of all, it is a fallacy to think you can make Biafra into another Dubai, which is what these Biafran One Nigerians talk about. Within the constructs of a failing Nigerian state, which is quickly becoming like another Somalia. What affects the whole affects the part. In order to have this so-called economic Biafra, you also need political and geopolitical independence. This is basic logic. This is basic reason. That's the problem with you people whose brains have been broken by the zoo. You can't reason. You can't logic. That is why I'm doing these broadcasts, to help you people logic and reason in order to think more sensibly, more reasonably. And I'm hoping that with these broadcasts, we could reset the brains of many of you people who just cannot think properly, who think rubbish, who think nonsense. So furthermore, right, even if you could achieve this economic Igbo land fantasy within Nigeria, which is not possible, but even if you could achieve it, What is the point of the so-called economic Igbo land, economic Biafra land, if you have no freedom? Does having a fancy hotel or these Biafran businesses or having a lot of money matter when the Islamic fundamentalist authorities in Biafra land, once Biafra is under Sharia, seize you for minor infraction and decide to cut off your hand? I'm serious about this. There is a misconception that those in the Biafra independence movement are somehow idealists or we're delusional. No, those who are part of the Biafran independence movement are the realistic ones. It's the opposite of what you think it is. It is the Biafra One Nigerianists who are unrealistic and completely delusional. Completely delusional. I watch these Biafran One Nigerians closely, and I watch all Biafrans closely with my eye. Even if I don't say anything, I watch everything and everyone closely. And so when I watch these Biafran One Nigerianists, I see you loving to take photos of yourself at the Nollywood party, or this fancy thing, that fancy thing, getting dressed up in Biafran attire, showing off yourselves, floating here, floating there. You people need a reality check. You guys need to, to use an American phrase, wake up and smell the coffee. Because this is ridiculous. You need to wake up from your superficial self-obsession and realize you are in danger, as much danger as all other Biafrans, and join the Biafran independence movement and what we are doing. That's the first point. Secondly, the second reason why some of these Biafran One Nigerians are not supporting what we're doing, frankly, selfishness. They think consciously or even subconsciously, not realizing what they're thinking, because they have not been personally affected by what is going on, that they are somehow immune from all of this and don't have to be part of the Biafran cause. Let me share with you two personal stories or anecdotes. One of our Biafran sisters who was part of the struggle, who I will not mention by name, had tried to convince a Biafran friend of hers to join the Biafran independence movement. Her friend was always dismissive, always negative. Then one day, her friend's family member was killed, cut to pieces, by Fulani herders in Biafra land. And after this murder, she changed her mind and asked to get involved in the Biafran struggle. I have a second story. Another member of the Biafran struggle had a highly educated doctor that she went to. She showed this doctor an article about killings of Biafrans in his own village by these Fulani herders, and his response, shockingly, was that he didn't care because his relatives were not killed. What I want to say to those who don't care is that even if you have not been directly affected, even if your relatives have not been killed, at some point they will be in danger. So you should support the Biafran independence movement. You don't have to learn the hard way after one of your relatives gets murdered by one of the terrorists or the Fulani herders or so forth to join what we're doing. Be sensible. You don't have to learn the hard way. And I just want to end by saying I'm not speaking harshly to be critical, but to help you save you from yourselves. I want the Biafran One Nigerianists who are listening to this broadcast to carefully consider what I'm saying for your own benefit and salvation. And also, I want everyone else to listen to what I'm saying, to reflect on it in their own self-reflections. So I will be continuing upon the topics that have been highlighted in these first two episodes, and I look forward to speaking to you in my third episode, which will build upon the existing themes that I've talked about. Thank you, and have a nice day.
Please stop following him. He is not anywhere close to the government. He is not part of the government. These are Nigerian agents that use our prime minister's name to make money online. Number one, I do not know if you are the one paying me online. And secondly, Biafrans, I have never made 1 naira, one dime, I said, on any of my platform. The money I am earning from my work is okay and is enough for me to take care of my family and myself. Now, man on mission, I'm going to warn you. Do not, and I repeat, in your life, do not use my name